Gator and DT.
And another three.
And another three.
Now.
I mentioned the Three Stooges, but we got, maybe it's the Three Musketeers.
Well,
let's go to the Three Musketeers.
Started right here. Those two are just visitors.
Yeah.
We got the Three Stooges over here.
We're very excited to announce our next guest that's coming on here. They're no strangers to Caldwell County, especially one of them. Coach Craig Clayton, the head football coach at Hopkinsville High School. He has brought with him Coach Curtis Higgins, who used to be the former head football coach at Trigg County High School, and whereabouts in Louisville was it? Fern Creek High School.
Yep.
And even another special guest that came with them that I hadn't seen in a while, Coach Dan Hampton. Two of these three coached me when I was in high school, so that tells you their age as well as mine.
We were young.
We're glad to have you guys to come in this morning and talk to us.
Thanks, Pat. We brought Dan along just as our designated driver with the rain and all, So
Well, I thought maybe Hurricane Harvey drove him out of Georgia up here to Kentucky, but
well, he's had experience with all the hurricanes in that area through the years, so we thought he'd be known, handle this weather better.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can say you guys look great. And Craig, you've been around a long time, brother. You've been a head coach a long time. How many years has it been now?
This is my 34th.
That's a good thing. Been around a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, he played here at Caldwell County and graduated, and the son of Fred Clayton, who we all had the opportunity, or three of us had the opportunity to play for. And, we're just excited. How excited are you to be back at Hopkinsville High School?
Well, I am. I would be more excited if all the guys that were supposed to play are playing right now. When I took the job, there was a 3,000-yard quarterback coming back, a 1,000-yard receiver coming back, and a 1,000-yard rusher. And right now, none of those guys are on the team. So, I thought, well, I can do something with those guys. And so right now, we have nobody on our team that started an offensive game on the varsity level before our first game last week, or 2 weeks ago. So very inexperienced bunch, playing a really lot of young kids. And the offensive line will start tonight or tomorrow, depends on when we play the game. 2 weeks ago, three of those guys who started 2 weeks ago are not starting. They're all injured. So now we're going with a whole new bunch who still hadn't played. So it's that's been our big bugaboo right now. Is offensive line's really struggled, but they're getting better. I thought we had a real good week of practice this week, best week of practice we've had. And in the running back situation, we moved a kid named Mitchell Degenhart to running back this week. I think it's going to help us a lot. I think it's one of those moves you make, and it's the right one. If he doesn't get hurt, we're down to like 3 running backs. We had 6 2 weeks ago. So. Just very beat up, and that's what happens with young kids until you get a good weight program in.
Well, it happens with young kids, but it also happens when you play 4 teams like you've played already.
Yeah.
Owensboro, McCracken, South Warren, and Mayfield, that's a pretty good schedule right off the bat.
We held our own with Owensboro, McCracken. But, both the games, South Warren, we're down 7-0 at the half and just folded up second half. And Mayfield game was 14-7 with 4 minutes to go in the first half, and we folded up. So I think right now our guys don't know how to play through the whole thing, and that's a learning process. But we're getting better every week, and I think by the time we start district games, we'll be in pretty good shape.
It happens to everybody. I was watching the game last night, Indiana and Ohio State. I thought Indiana was a better team, but, in the long run, at the end, they just wore them out.
Yes.
Which I was hoping Ohio State was going to get killed. I can't stand them. But anyway, I just.
Well, the score was no indication of how well Indiana did play. And,
yeah. I watched that till I fell asleep. It was 21-20 Indiana, so, I thought, well, heck.
I made it to the end of the third quarter. So. Anyway.
Yep.
Craig, we're renewing the rivalry between Caldwell County and Hopkinsville. I believe you went to Hopkinsville High School on your first stint in 1986.
Right.
I came to Caldwell in 1986.
Yes.
And I've had numerous people say, well, why didn't y'all ever? We had a mutual understanding, didn't we?
Yes,
we wouldn't play one another.
That's right.
That's the way you got it. Just for some reason, it just didn't work out in the scheduling. But,
exactly. Yep.
I know the people here in Caldwell, a lot of the older remember the rivalry, And what do you think about our team this year?
Well, looking at you young like us, I mean, you got a lot of underclassmen playing. Of course, the Raleigh kids are really good skill players at the corners and receivers. I think the defensive front is very fast, very quick. I really like the linebacker, 32, really good football player. It's going to be a tough. Yeah, he's a good player. There are a lot of other good players as well, but to me, he's the guy that stands out to me because I'm an offensive line guy, and he does a great job scraping off tackle and getting in. He's a good tackler. And offensive-wise, I think Joey's doing a good job playing quarterback. Was put into a tough position, all of a sudden, and the running back situation is kind of like ours. It's kind of by committee a little bit. They probably don't have it's not probably their strongest suit at this point. But the offensive line kind of looks like ours. They're young, they make some mistakes, and so really we kind of mirror each other at this point. We have some pretty good skilled players, at really a lot of the same positions, so we look a lot alike. Both of us are better defensively than we are offensively right now.
I think Gates was just checking you out to see if you'd watched any film.
Oh, come on, man. Actually,
I knew he would watch.
The first 2 weeks, all I had was a scrimmage and lasted 20 plays, and one of them, I went in blind. This is really the first game I feel like I have a feel for our opponent a little bit anyway, because we had 2 games to go by. So those first 2 games are rough, especially when you hadn't played any of these teams or even seen them in years. So you don't know what to expect when you get there. So South Warren looked a lot better than they looked in their scrimmage, and Mayfield looked about like they looked on tape. So we knew both of them were going to be tough games. But South Warren was a little bit better than I thought they were going to be, and Mayfield is better than South Warren. I'll just say that. I think it's one of the best Mayfield teams I've ever seen because offensively they're just dynamic. Most spread teams don't run the ball that well, but we took away their passing game just about completely, let all the screens. They just put 2 tights in and ran over us. So we didn't make the adjustment we need to make quick enough, and they kind of took the game over by doing that. But that's what good coaches do. They make their adjustment. But we took all the screen game away from them. But that was our goal, and then we're going to try to stop the run, but we didn't do a good job of that.
Well, when you got both that you can do both, it's hard to do.
Exactly. So
Well, you've pulled a guy out of retirement.
Yeah.
And that's helping you on your staff now. And of course, he just recently retired from KTRS.
Yeah.
And Coach Curtis Higgins.
Just
Curtis,
before all the taking our retirement stuff away. We're all sitting here retired, ain't we?
we're sitting here.
We got 5 Kentucky retirees here.
You're exactly right. Curtis, tell us a little bit about your role.
Well, when this all came about, it was kind of funny because I picked up the phone and called Craig and said, have they called you? And he said, yeah. I said, are you interested? And he said, I don't know. And I said, well, we hunt together, we fish together, we play golf together. I said, I'll coach with you. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. And he said, good. And so, he ended up taking it, and I came on, and I'm trying to teach all the young guys how to be good Indians. They all want to be chiefs until they find out that they may not know quite as much as they thought they knew. And, I'm helping, I'm focusing on special teams. I'm up top helping Craig up top helping Lopez defensively. So I'm trying to do a little bit of both up top.
Are you in a consulting role?
I'm in the consulting role. We're getting the snot beat out of us. The consulting's not going real good.
For a little while.
Not going real good, but
he's a jack of all trades.
But one day it was funny because I think one day in practice, we have a young offensive line coach, and Craig works with the offensive line a lot as well, and we have a young kid that coaches the offensive line. And I was over the offensive line, and Craig looked at me and goes, you know offensive line. And I said, well, yeah, kind of know a little bit of everything, but that was not what I focused on. But I'll tell you what, I remember when I got my first head coaching job, I didn't have a clue about offensive line. And thank goodness I had a good offensive line coach that went with me from our staff with Redmond at Wagner. And I learned real quick, I better find out what the heck the offensive line's doing and how they do it. And so I really focused on that. But, I'm enjoying it. It's good to be around the kids. It's not great that, like he said, we lost the weapons that we thought we were going to have. We thought we were going to be thin anyway, and we turned out to be real thin. But, the Dillard kid tearing that ACL in that scrimmage, it really hurt us because he's been starting for 2 years, and he's a really good running back, and
Craig,
I think
is that Mac Dillard's grandson?
grandson.
I think it's his grandson. Yeah,
Mac
that's your
Dillard,
age.
We
or,
played.
yeah.
He was a really good football player at
Absolutely.
Christian County back in the early '70s, I guess you'd say. And,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I saw
Jatorion's a football player now, and he's
Yeah.
a good running back, and that really did hurt us. And we ran the ball pretty decently against McCracken and against Owensboro, and didn't do a bad job running the football. And we haven't really run the ball since we lost Dillard, so
Yeah.
we've got to find something to run the ball a little bit better.
He also become a very good receiver. He's probably our second best receiver as well. So, I throw to a lot of backs out of the backfield,
Right.
and so that killed us as well, right there. So, so now we just been, last couple of weeks, we've been just starting all over again. So,
It's good though. We're playing good teams. I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
I promise you, Mayfield will probably be in the finals.
This may be tougher than your district.
And South
Oh, it will be.
and South
Oh, yeah.
Warren will be a top 5 team all year, but they may not get to the finals because they're in the same district as Bowling Green now. But they'll be right there, and that's they're 2 good football teams that we played so far, and so we're playing another good one that either tonight or tomorrow, whenever we're going to play this thing.
Give us an update, Craig.
I don't know that.
You've got to be making the call. Are you?
We're supposed to, about 10, probably make a
10
decision.
o'clock?
We're trying to look at the long-term rain because, right now they're forecasting 70% chance of rain or 80% through 10 o'clock tonight. So I think if it's that, we'll try to play tomorrow. Originally we thought it was going to stop about noon, but now they've kind of moved it all back. So our field drains well, but still if it's raining all day, it's not going to drain very well. And I'd rather play on better conditions. I don't like playing on muddy fields. I think people get hurt more, especially knee injuries, ankle injuries, slipping and stuff like that. So I'd rather play on a dry field, but we'll just wait and see. So probably about 10 o'clock we'll make a decision.
Well, if you look out right now, it's not raining real hard, but I, as a parent, wouldn't really want to sit in that
No, me neither.
if I could help it.
As a coach, I don't want to.
I don't blame you. I'd swap places with him, let him come down, you go up top.
I used to do that years ago.
I don't know how many players want to get out playing anymore.
No.
Back in
the day, everybody liked it.
everybody loved
yeah.
getting mud.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
the
true.
year when we played at Madisonville, your daddy that was years ago when I was a
Yeah.
senior.
Yeah.
We took 2 sets of uniforms. We traded uniforms at halftime.
Yeah, I used to
I don't
do
even know. I didn't know we even had 2 sets.
I was going to say one of your probably more memorable games was the Madisonville game in Caldwell back. What year was that in?
I don't know. 70 or 69,
And
I guess.
it was a quagmire. and
69.
I'm pulling
But
down-
it was awful
Yeah.
all day long. I mean, it just rained and
Somebody
rained
kicked
and
the winning
rained.
field goal, didn't it?
I don't know. All I know is we had 2 sets of uniforms.
And was that back when Sonny Collins played and
Yeah.
Larry
Oh, yeah.
Johnson? Oh yeah, good
Yeah.
Madisonville team.
Yeah.
So
Mark Bashir, I think, was on that team.
Oh, Lord.
Nashville.
our old buddy Mark
The
Bashir.
slammer.
Wonder how old
You know-
Thirsty is doing.
In high school, Dennis was called Bird Legs.
No way.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't
But
bring
he had a
you over here
strong
to talk
kick. He
about
could
me.
kick well. Yeah, that's right.
Craig, I got a question I got to ask.
Oh, gosh. Okay, go ahead.
You've been gone 13 years from Hopkinsville,
12.
12 years,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And of course, you were there for 18 as head coach,
19.
19
First time.
years as
Yeah.
head coach.
Right.
And coming back, is it what you thought it was going to be like?
Pretty close, except the good players are not there. I thought we were going to be there. But,
You've got some of the good players on your staff, don't you?
oh, yeah, I got, Curtis Pulley was Mr. Football in 2004, was on our staff. Brian Dodd, who played at Cincinnati, is on our staff. Of course, Lopez, who played for me, went to Memphis. And Judge Self, we call him Judge Coach, Andrew. We're the 3 old guys, me, Curtis, and Judge. I'm the old
You
guy.
got
They're
another
medium
old guy
old.
going to be with you tonight.
Yeah, I don't know about him. But I tell you, the kids right now that I have are a little nicer than the kids I had before. And I mean that in a good way as far as ACT scores and that kind of stuff. But they're not quite as nasty as the kids I had before. So you got to have some nasty guys on your team to kind of get it going. And really, when you come in the situation, one thing I want to bring back was the physicality that we always had at Hopkinsville. Right now, we're getting there. I mean, this is the first week I've seen it kind of pop out a little bit in practice. So, but it's not. You're not going to change the seniors you have right now. It's going to have to go back and begin with the freshmen and sophomores, which we're loaded at those two classes. That's our two best classes, and so if you start there, it's going to show up in a year or two down the line, and I think we'll be a much more physical team. Like, Mayfield was just nasty. I'll just tell you, they had 3 personal fouls on the quarterback. Should have had 10 if they wanted to call them all. They were chippy, and that's where I want us to play. I mean, I'm not talking about flagrantly hitting people, but you play through the whistle, and I think we'll eventually get there, but right now we're just not there. But the kids are great. I don't have a lot of renegades on the team or anything like that. No problems. But school's good. Todd Marshall plays for me as the principal, and Larry Kavanaugh's the athletic director. So all those guys are football guys. So it'll be good. It's just going to take time to change the culture. We got to convince everybody there they're not a basketball player, and
5 can play.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I've been trying to explain to them there hadn't been a Division I basketball player come out of Hopkinsville, a true one, since Steve Tribble. That was 1965. I mean, Bert Averett went to Pepperdine.
Yeah.
So there hadn't been, and of course everybody thinks they're going to be a D1 guy, and it's just that's not the way it is.
Hopkinsville High School, not
yes,
University Heights or Christian County.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're fighting that battle. AAU basketball, we're fighting that, but that cultural change, it just takes a little bit of time.
Yep. Sure does.
Well, one stat that is always indicative of the type of team you have is penalties. How many yards per penalty are you averaging this season so far?
Not enough.
Not enough.
No.
You're always in the 100, 115 yards
Yeah.
per game.
We're at 40 or 60.
And that's because we have 5 or 6 offsides.
Yeah, exactly.
And when they get offsides, they just
exactly. Yeah,
It's a twitch
We're not
offside.
getting any of the good penalties. We're getting the 5 or 6 offside penalties.
Yeah, because if you're a hustling team, you're playing through the whistle, you're going to have aggressive penalties. That's just the way it is, and I can live with those. We talked about that yesterday. You can live with those, but you can't live with the stupid offsides or, waiting until somebody's got their back turned and hitting him in the back is not an aggressive play.
No.
Right.
We do a little of that every once in a while. Hit him in the front where it counts. So, but that's kind of what we want to get to.
But you were talking about wanting nastier kids and things. It was good for them to play Mayfield to see what it's like.
Exactly. Yeah, South Florida was pretty nasty too.
Or
they were chippy. Yeah, both those first two teams were very aggressive.
But a lot of young kids that haven't been around that
No.
don't know it. They don't know what it's like.
And I keep telling our young coaches, look, until we get experience, until our kids have played enough ball games, we're just going to struggle, because there's no substitute for that experience factor. And these kids just hadn't played anywhere, and they're young. Offensive line, the first game we started freshmen, 2 sophomores, and 2 juniors. And, it's been
None
like
of them
that.
played varsity.
None of them
And
ever
none of them
before.
have ever played varsity.
No. And it's just, we started 2 freshmen, safety and an offensive guard in the first game. So, in the league we play in, that's not good, as a program. So,
You've been in Tennessee for 12 years. Now you're back in Kentucky. What's been the biggest adjustment in comparison to the 2 states and how
I really haven't.
high school football is played?
Of course, playing South Florida and Mayfield, those guys can play in Tennessee. But you play those kind of teams like 8 out of 10 weeks. I've played those kind of teams. Whereas in Kentucky, you're going to play on those kind of teams maybe 4 times on our schedule this year. So it's just that the good teams in both states are equal, but just more good teams in Tennessee as a whole. And that goes back to they allow 4 scrimmages in the summer. You get 2 scrimmages in the spring, and football's emphasized in Tennessee. Whereas in Kentucky, basketball's emphasized with all the rules I'm looking at. I'm going, our high school basketball team probably played 30 games in June. In the summer, think about all the stuff they did. And then you're sitting there, I can't even take my kids out to a passing 7-on-7 tournament or anything in June. And I think Kentucky's kids aren't going to be recruited as much because they're not going to be as polished and ready to be recruited as teams like it that are in Tennessee. So right now, Middle Tennessee's flushing athletes out. They sign so many athletes now. The area I was in down there, every week we would play somebody going to SEC. I mean, just about everybody had one guy, most of them did. And some of them had multiple. And I don't know if they were good any better than a lot of kids I see up here, but they're getting recruited more. And it's because of the experience factor.
It was like that when you and I were at Western.
Yes.
We had a lot of kids from Tennessee that when they
In Middle Tennessee,
they had, they just seemed like they had been around a little longer.
Yeah,
or
and the
whatever.
crowds there are great. I mean, you go to a ball game. I was in Williamson County, and there'd be 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000 every game, and the kids all came. If we had 1,600 kids in school, it'd be 1,000 of them at the ball game. And I know at Franklin, the freshmen had to stand up because they couldn't get a seat and there was a rite of passage, so they stood around. And the next year, they got to go to the stands, and everybody moved up a ladder as like a pecking system just to go to the ball games. And they were rabid. I mean, they would get after you. I mean, they were very rabid. And the bands in Kentucky, I think the bands quit playing. They never quit playing down there. Both of them at the same time. You can't hear anything. So, but it's just a different atmosphere, and I think we've kind of lost that in Kentucky. That's the main thing I see right now.
Well, I can tell you, you'll have a crowd from Caldwell. We always,
I know.
you know, have great fan support. Curtis,
Yeah.
we can go back when Trigg County and Caldwell played. You know, we had several big-time battles
Yep.
between
Yep.
us, and you know, I'm glad to see you guys back here in Western Kentucky coaching, and you know, anything, Dennis, you'd like to add? Or
No, just glad to see all of them. Hamp, I can tell he's taking your place is what it was. You used to do what he's doing. You
Coach
were
Hamp,
there.
When Craig got the job, I got a phone call, wanted to know when I was coming back to moving back from down south to help him coach.
did you get one of them calls
I
too?
got one of those calls too, Pat, and I just giggled.
You got one too, didn't you, Pat?
I got one.
I was trying to get Pat to come coach the offensive line for
Due
me.
to the lack of interest in enjoying, I couldn't give up Tiger sports talk.
No,
I
no,
go
no way.
coach football.
Ain't no way.
Hey, I live on the 9th tee where I live. It's 410 yards to the number 1 tee, so no, I wouldn't have it.
Well, Craig got to move back, not necessarily home, but he got to move back to where he was for a long time, and that's big.
Yeah.
You got grandkids, and
Yeah, I see
that's
my
the most
grandkids.
important thing. Here we got the old coach coming
Hey,
here.
Dave.
He's gonna try to stick his nose in here now and see if he's gonna win tonight.
You mentioned his grandkids. He's got 3 beautiful grandkids.
Sure does.
I
and
do.
A daughter and a son-in-law that allows him to hunt and fish.
Went over.
What else could you ask
Well,
for?
I don't know. It's good. I love being back now.
I bet.
It's been great for me. I enjoy getting up every day, and I mean, I coach because I just love to do it. It had nothing to do with money. It doesn't have anything to do with
Right.
wearing out. I think I'll tell one little story before I go, but my whole attitude changed in 1988. We were playing Paducah for the district championship, my 3rd year at Hopkinsville. It got postponed on a Friday, something like this. We played at 1 o'clock the next day, and it was spitting snow. And 15 minutes before the game, I'm standing outside the locker room at the old Walnut Street Stadium. Make sure I wouldn't get hit by a rock.
Right.
But I just all of a sudden kind of got dizzy, and the side of my neck was, with every heartbeat, my side of my neck was just bumping out, like a knot. And I'm like, what the heck, And I said, I got 2 young kids. This is not worth getting excited over a bunch of 15, 18-year-old boys that decide your fate
Exactly.
in a 2-hour period, So I changed my whole attitude about it. It didn't come near as important to win, and it was more about just doing what I love doing. And the relationship with the coaches and players is super important to me, and trying to help these kids to become better men. That's my main goal. The wins are just a bonus, and right now we're 0-2, but I'm not upset at all. I mean, it's a process we got to get to. So,
Speaking of your daughter, I saw her over at. We went to Katie's at the Harper House to eat, the new restaurant.
Yeah.
She was over there.
yeah.
And what's her husband's first name?
Michael.
Michael.
Michael
They
Lester.
were both
Lester
there.
Farms.
Yeah.
If you need a bird dog, talk to Gary Lester.
What about a beagle ham?
Well,
We need some beagles.
We do
don't
need some good ones, man.
Y'all can't keep them when you get them.
We had a corporation back several years ago. And I kept them or I didn't keep them. Harry Bird kept
Yeah, Harry
them for
did. Yeah, Harry
several
he
years.
killed him.
Yeah.
And then Curtis took them over, and what'd they do? Run through downtown Katy.
Yeah, about got arrested.
Well,
over
they were looking for rabbits or bird dogs or something.
Yeah.
Any of our listeners out there got any rabbit hunting spots? Contact me or DT or
Not me.
you can be our beagle hound.
No. I won't even be your driver. Hamp do that for you.
Hey, we appreciate you guys coming down, and we want to wish you the best of luck on the season. We don't want to wish you the best of luck tonight.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay,
you got
I
okay.
told them one thing for sure: Tigers are going to win.
That's right.
The Tigers are going to win, and it should be the makings of a great football game.
Yes.
We want to encourage. What a great location,
Oh, yeah. It's a
you
great
know, to
stadium.
play football. And you know, hopefully all of our people will make the trip over tonight, or if it's tomorrow. And we want to thank you once again for coming in. We've had Dan Hampton, Curtis Higgins, Craig Clayton, our earlier guest we had this morning, Sheriff Hudson, along with Wayne McGowan. And we want to thank all of our listeners and viewers for tuning in.
Has Anita got your house fixed up yet?
Yes, she does, finally. It
I've
took
got
2
to
months.
come and stay with you one night, remember?
Yeah,
I've
come
got
on.
to come over and work for Joe Mack at a couple
that's
of his
right.
spots.
Oh, Joe Mack. Hey, Joe Mack, we've been dealing with Joe Mack at Hopkinsville.
Have you?
We're
What a
one of our
great
new
man.
vendors. That's right.
Oh.
He's a good man.
Great
He's a good man.
supporter.
He's a great
And
man.
I don't
He
know
is.
if he supported Hopkinsville as much, you know.
See, he
got
came after I
involved
left,
as
so,
much as
yeah,
he
yeah.
did Christian County.
Well,
Right,
he
yeah.
knew Lovelace, and so Lovelace
Right.
would talk to him, and I don't know if the other guy ever got involved with him.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
here he comes.
He's
He's
turning
listening
in
right
right
now.
now. And
Boy,
you know-
we sure wish he hadn't have showed up. I know he's not listening.
He's the voice of the Lady Tigers soccer team right
Yeah,
now.
one
Doing
of
a
them.
Is he
great
now?
job. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Well, he's a loud voice then.
Pretty loud, pretty loud. Great guy. We want, again, thank our guests for coming in. You've been listening to Tiger Sports Talk on 103.3 FM, The Tiger. Tune in again next Friday morning. We got Crittenden County next week, so we'll have some guests from Crittenden County.
New car buyers, listen up. We need to move our new car and